Hello, everyone. How's it going? Long time no see. Welcome to part 5 of our color palette generator that we have been building. And this is the design. Don't think that, oh, did I complete it already or what? This is just the design. But I am glad that some of you are sticking around to see what else do we add uh, from our where we left it basically last, I think, 3 days ago. Okay, so welcome everyone. First of all, thank you so much, as I said, for joining. I have the registration link highlighted. It should be in the chat. I did not chat much, so it should be the last thing on the chat. If you can't find it, let me share it again. So this is part 5 of our open source color palette generator. And for someone who is joining for the very first time, let me quickly introduce myself. My name is UT. And it is Utkarsh, but I prefer to go by UT. That's how everyone knows me in MLH. And I am currently building this color palette generator project. We actually had it before. So we have this existing website that I built that we built, actually, not I built, that we built as part of the previous open source week, 2024, I would say. Yes, 2024. And now we are in 2025. And I was like, let's take this project a step further. And what can we do? Can we build a V2 out of this? Because, well, things need to change, things need to update, upgrade, and stuff. So that's how I came up with this very basic, very generic, not really exciting looking, but I think it still suffices, uh, version of V2 of color palette generator. Now, in this project, what we have been trying to do is basically rebuild the whole thing. So we actually deleted a lot of things that we previously had, and we are left with a few things. We created these new pages that did not exist previously, these new routes like save palettes, accessibility, extract colors, about. We don't have this. We have completed the header. Actually, let me show you what we have. So let me just do npm run dev, and hopefully that opens up somewhere. Okay, it opened up there. There we go. So this is what we have built. Let's compare this with the design that we have. So as per the design, there needs to be a name, which we have done. We need to have these different routes, which we have made. But going to those routes does not do anything significant, anything like does not do much. That's what we have built. And we have also built this third column. So we have divided things into columns. We have done this. And in the last session, in session number 4, we actually added Zoostand to do state management. We talked a lot about what is state management, what to do there, how does it work. We talked about Redux a bit. We talked about use state, which is what React gives us for locally managing state. We talked about using context. So yeah, a couple of things I would say. And then we went on to create our own store as well. So yeah, that's where we ended our session number 4. I have 2 more sessions. Luckily, I have session 5, which is this one, and session 6, which is right after this one. So you're going to see me back to back for 4 hours, and I'm sure you don't want that. You want a break in between. So towards the end of this session and before the start of next session, we'll have a 10-15 minute break where you can just rest around, look at what you have done so far, achieved so far, and that's it. Another few things that I want to do is we will not be completing this by in any shape or form. Okay, there is no complete status that we will reach, if you understand what I'm trying to say, because well, uh, in 2 hours there's only so much you can build, right? And but I do promise you that at least the first page that we have, where was the design? Yeah, this page that we have, we'll try to achieve as much as possible of this first page. And another thing that I'm going to do is, of course, the project is open source. There have been previous contributions from folks all around the world, I would say. Can check out, these are some of the people who have contributed to the project. They have taken up some of the issues that I have raised, and they have built up stuff. So yeah, in the essence of doing continue doing it, in the essence of to continue to build it, I would raise some issues. You can discard all the previous issues. Let me actually, where did we stop? 27 is what I see last. Did I have any 28? Nope, 28. Nope, not 28. Okay, so I'm going to discard all these previous issues and we'll start fresh. Okay, fresh new issues is what we are going to start creating. Is what we'll create. I don't know, start creating. Weird. Okay, we'll create some fresh new issues and we will, yeah, just continue building. Any questions, anyone? If you want a link to the code base, it will be in your chat in a moment. Let me also put all the devices on silent. I don't want any calls while we have chat going on. I guess, okay, every device is on silent for sure. Okay, sorry, coming back. If you want the code base, it is in the chat. You can take a look. I definitely got a few more stars. I'm glad whoever went through the effort of giving this repository a star. Okay, anyways, uh, what else? The project is, as you saw, it's already deployed on Netlify. We have paused the deployment until we at least get this project in some sort of state where it is usable. I had added tracking with Celine, so let's see, quite a lot of users in last 30 days. In last 12 months, not bad, I would say, right? Uh, Definitely more in last 7 days since I started rebuilding this project. Okay, cool. What else? So whatever you see here is where our code base had reached at the end of part 4. So I have exactly that. I did promise that I would continue building, but I never got the time with my work. Uh, so yeah, we'll continue from here. But I was checking what did we finish in last few sessions. So in last few sessions, we actually cleaned up the whole code base. No, we actually started here. Yeah, 4 days ago. So we cleaned up the code base. We updated Tailwind to version 4 where it had some breaking changes. We created a color card component that you don't see here yet because we added some Zoost and store and now we just need to integrate it. I do not want to push to main anymore. So I am going to close all the issues, sadly. And I am going to do mark as not planned. Okay, so all of these go into not planned, unfortunately. Also, let me just tell you that I will put this project as part of Hacktoberfest again. Okay, so previously it was in the previous, like last year, basically 2024, it was part of Hacktoberfest. It will again be part of Hacktoberfest this year. Okay, so keep an eye, and of course, whatever we don't complete in the next two sessions, the issues would already be raised. You can continue uh, building it. I can assign you issues. You can contribute to this project uh, and use it in your day to day. It is used by someone I know in my company. So yeah, it's not a bad project to work on. Uh, let's start with feature request, and feature number will actually be 28. So what is the workflow normally? So if you, okay, the hackers who are on this stream, if you have to do this, what you would do normally, you would come on to this color palette generator, new issue, choose what type of issue you're raising. Is it a feature request? Is it a bug report or something else? So in my case, let's say I'm raising a feature request. uh, the feature request is to add Zustand store in color card. Okay, that's the feature request. So then there are a few questions that need answering. Is your feature request related to a problem? Please describe. Uh, currently, so the problem is that currently color card is not shown. Currently, the home page only shows it should, yeah. So this is the problem. The solution is it should ideally show a color card. Integration pending. Describe alternatives you have considered. Well, this is not applicable in this scenario, so I'm going to just say NA for this one. And any additional context or screenshots, well, if you want, you can take some. So example, in my case, if I want to take a quick screenshot, a quick screen grab of this thing, I think this is fine. So I have done that, taken a quick screenshot. Don't worry, I've not taken screenshot of the stream. Copy image, go over here and paste it. If I just paste it, and now if I go into preview, this is what I see. So this is what you would do. It will automatically have some labels added, and then you will click on create. So once this issue is created, I get an email saying that, oh, someone has opened an issue. And then when I get time, I come over to the project, and then I will review the request normally. Like, this is my workflow, but I think this is normally what the workflow is of any open source project. I will see, okay, is this a valid request? Yes, no, whatever. And then I will edit it and give it a number. Okay. And sometimes if you see some of the previous issues that I have closed, I try to add something like, is it an enhancement or something else? Not really needed. I mean, if it's a feature, there is a feature tag already. If there is a bug, it's a bug. So yeah, things already exist for most of the things, for most of the scenarios. So that's fine. I can save this. It's feature number 28. I'm going to work on it. So I'm going to assign myself to this, and that's it. So now if you want to work on this, okay, so let's create a branch for this. You can create it, apparently you can create it from here, or the way I do it normally, I would take this name. I am going to go over to my code base, and I am going to actually have two versions of my shell. Then I am going to do git checkout dash b. So I am creating a new branch. Hopefully the screen, like, it is big enough for everyone to see. Okay, so git checkout dash b, and actually you could do anything. I would, for the timing, I would just do feet which is whatever is the number 28. Add Zuston store, add dash Zuston dash store, and so now I've created a new branch. So now I am on a new branch. I have told you in the previous sessions that we use version 20 of Node, so that's what I'm using. And I would say it's a good practice whenever you switch over to new branch, always run bootstrap dev. Uh, yeah, it does not make any difference if none of the dependencies have changed, but if they have changed, you would have installed everything. Well, there is an error which we somehow missed last time. So in the 3 column layout, apparently color card props. Okay, we'll fix it in this session. Okay, cool. uh this is fine, and I think in layout in 3 column, yep, there is one error. It needs card ID, which was defined in the props here, which was compulsory, but we forgot to give it here, and that's why there is an error. So ideally always be on the main branch, always git pull first. Okay, so that you have the latest branch, latest code from remote, which in this case remote is nothing but GitHub. Whatever we have pushed on GitHub is remote, and you have the latest code, so that's very important. Once you have that, then you can create a branch out of main and start doing changes. So let's start doing changes. Git branch. Also, if it is not clear what I meant before, so ideally when you pull stuff, you will always be on the main branch, right? So always ensure that you have pulled everything from the main, and then you can do a git checkout to dash b, which is creating a branch. Or in my case, I already have a branch, so I'm going to git checkout to that particular branch, then run npm run bootstrap dev, so that any dependencies that have been added, so if the package json has changed before, so then we will do a fresh install, and then we can go from there. Okay, so hope everything made sense. Let me arrange my screen properly. So that is done, I guess. Yep, I think this is fine. Okay, cool. Any questions, anyone? I have a few people on stream, so I know that people are interested. But any questions, anyone? Okay, no questions. I'm going to take it as everyone is really happy with everything that's been going on. So before this session, I was reviewing the code that we have, and I found that it is missing some significant pieces that would be needed. So I am going to start from there. So just to give you a quick overview, we had added a bunch of things. We had installed a bunch of libraries. We had we had done some stuff. So now in our color data state, you can watch the previous videos to understand that in our color data state, we want to add generated shades, which would be a string array. Okay, so this is what will store all the colors that are generated. Next, in our add color, we have partial of omit. So we have ID. What I would also want our add color card to have is the generated shades. Not sorry, not have, remove. Okay. So from color data state, we don't want ID and generated shades to be part of add color card. Okay, so that is one thing that we definitely needed. What else did I miss? Update RG, update color card RGBA channel, and just this we could technically simplify a bit. So we want the ID, which would be a string. We want the channel, which would be a key of RGBA, and we want value, which would be a number. Okay. So in our update color card RGBA channel, what we are saying is that this is a function call. This function takes in three parameters. One is the ID, which would be the string. Then the next would be the channel, which would be a key of RGBA. So one of the RGBA values, and the value itself, which would be a number. Okay. So similarly, we can do for uh, HSL channel, uh, for update color like CMYK channel, LCH channel. Yep. So previously, like I realized today that I think this is too complicated. So we are kind of trying to simplify it a bit so that you don't have to deal with generics or anything. Now this one would be a key of HSL. So while copy pasting, like let's remember, if you remember, we did make a mistake last time during copy paste, which we realized quickly. Okay, so ID would be string, channel would be key of CMYK, and value would be number. LCH itself, and the value would be number and reset store. And we also need a new generate shades. Yep, that should take technically an ID, and that should generate the shades, but I can name it better. I can name it generate color card shades, just so that we kind of have the same pattern across. So add a color card will add a new card. A remove color card will remove that particular card. The update color card name will change the name of the color card that we have. So this is the name. This primary. Okay, so that will be changed. Update color card hex will change this hex value. If I zoom in a bit, yes, we'll change this hex value. Uh, Update color card shades will change this number 12, which is the total number of shades that are generated. Update color card RGBA will change RGBA. Then similarly for HSL, CMYK, and LCH. Okay. So these are these updates. Then the channel one, okay, these are the ones that we will use when we want to make a change in one, and when we want to make a change in one. Example, if I make a change in RGBA values, then the hex color should be updated, HSL should be updated, CMYK should be updated, and LCH should be updated. Okay, so yes, the idea is that making a change in any of like one of these should trigger an update for all. Now, I'm getting a call, which I can, I guess, ignore. Hopefully, definitely did not. Hey, sorry. Yep. Okay, there is one question. Could you briefly explain why you. I'm getting it again. Give me one sec. Sorry, call from my company. Uh, Coming back, there is one question. Could you briefly explain why you choose Zustin over React? I hadn't heard of Zustin before. So, Zustin is a state management library. It is different from React. We use it in React. Okay, so what is React? React is the library or framework, depending on who you ask, and if you want to get into a fight or not. Some people will say it's a framework, some people will say it's a library. I'm going to say React, and React is what is helping us build this view, right? But to manage the state, what is state? State is nothing but the variable value. Okay, to manage the state, what can you do? Like, what tools can you use? You can have a variable, create a variable using const a, like my variable equals to some value, and then show that value in React. But what if you want to update that value? So one of the very simple examples is a counter, right? So if I have a counter, I want to update that counter, then we can use a local state like useState to update, keep a track of the previous, like keep a track of the value, and also have a setter to update the value. So that is like count and set count, and in use state. So that's state management. Now that is local state management, more like. Now what if you want a global state management? Like for some reason you want to update the variable in one of the child component but want to pass it to a parent component. React allows one way data flow, so this passing of data from child to parent is possible, but it's not really good looking. If like you could do callbacks and callbacks and callbacks, but is it really good? Not really, I would say. So in that case, what could you do? You could use something like Redux or context, React context, to manage the state. So those are two of the most popular ones that I know. The third popular one, and I would say it's popular, is because it has 52.3K stars uh, on GitHub, and definitely a lot of uh, downloads on npm. Let's check it out. Actually, I'm curious. 7 million weekly downloads. Yep, 7 million weekly downloads. So this is another state management library that we have, and I like this because the syntax is really similar to using a use state. In one of my previous videos, like in previous one of the GHWs, I had actually shown the whole use state workflow, and then we actually converted it to use Zustent store, and yeah, it was pretty easy. It was like literally lift and shift, and yes, that is state management. So yep, I'm using Zustin for state management. Oh, you actually answered the question. Yes, it is more like Redux, just very lightweight. Redux is good. It is very heavy, not very heavy, but it is heavy, and it is good for some, like, difficult tasks on a bigger project. Zustin is good for smaller projects. You are absolutely welcome. Okay, moving on. I'll move away from screen so that you can all focus solely on the screen. Uh, So generate color card shades is done, and now in our create initial, this one, I am going to omit out ID and also omit out generated shades. Yep, it understood. So this is what we are doing even in add color card. So our initial color card state, so create initial color card state, this is the function, I would say, which is creating the first color card. Okay, so if you are like you are a user who has never visited the color conjure website, you visit the website and you want to see something there, right? You want to see something, where is it? Nope. Yeah, you want to see something here. So that something is uh, going to be the initial card state that we will show the users. Okay, hope that makes sense. And now in this one, this is fine. This is fine. It does, like, thanks to TypeScript, it says that this property generated shades is missing from this. Okay, so JavaScript will not give this error, but TypeScript does. So good for us. And I'm going to say, yep, generated shades is going to be an empty array. Initially, there are no generated shades. The generated shades are the colors that will come on this part of the page. Okay, cool. Uh, Everything else remains the same. And update color card hex is where now these things need some changing. Oh, no, not using Copilot right now. Hmm. So color cards is fine. Add color card is fine. We did that. Remove is also fine. Update color card name is fine. Update color card hex is where we will mostly make a few changes in our else part. Okay, right here we will say that card dot hex equals to hex. Okay, perfect. So that's one of the changes that we will do. What this is complaining about though is the generate part. Okay, so it is saying that this generate color card shades is missing. Add that, please. So let me add that first, so we get rid of all these red squiggly lines. Yep, so generate color card shades, and this will take in an ID, and then we can call our set method, which comes from Zustin, and yep, state. And what do we do inside this one? So set state, and we can do const card equals to, yep, this is what we have done before as well. If this, let's see, so if card, then in that case, nope, don't want this. Const scale, okay, is equal to chroma dot scale. So we are going to say that it starts from black color, goes all the way to card dot hex color, not all the way, but has the card dot hex in between and ends with white. Okay, so from black to white, so from the darkest shade to the lightest shade, it is going to go over, and dot mode we can set to lab. And we can do card dot generated shades is nothing but scale dot colors card dot shades. Don't like that Copilot tries to get ahead of us. It's like, oh, do you want this? I'm like, no, I don't. Okay, perfect. So generate color card shades. What we are saying is that step one, when someone clicks on that, like we'll have a button. I was thinking that this plus button in our design, they should not add a new card. We can have a add new color card button on the top here, but clicking on this plus button should generate this list of shades. So when someone clicks on that plus button, first thing is we need to know which particular card was this plus button clicked. Thank God that we decided to have an ID field. So we'll first find that card, okay, where the plus button was clicked. If that card exists, which of course it will, otherwise how else a user will click on it, but we should still do some checks. So we will say that if the card exists, then in that case we are going to use chroma.scale. We can actually check out, like you can check out chroma chroma.js API docs. So the method that we are using is scale method. So the scale method can be used to generate nice colors. And this is this is the crux of our whole project. Okay, we are building a color palette generator. So what it needs is it needs a start and kind of an end, and it will also need a number, like how many color shades, let's say, you want to generate. So you can scale from whatever is your start over to your end. And what is the mode? You have different modes. The mode that I have gone for is lab, which is lightness, and then A and B. Okay, so we go from darkest to the lightest, kind of. uh, we are in our case defining three colors here. We are saying that there would be black, which would be the darkest color, to white, which is the lightest color, and in between, from that particular black to that particular white, generate it in such a way that the hex color that is defined uh, can be seen slash shown to the user. Okay, so if, let's say, the color starts from black, goes to white, but in between we give this pink. Okay, so then it the shades will be generated in such a way that it will go from black to, let's say, towards purple, then it will go towards uh I don't know, violet or something, or near to pink, like this pink color, and then it will start going lighter from there, so light pink, and then I have no idea how many type colors of pink are there, but it will somehow reach white. uh yep. Okay, so that is our whole description of generate shades. So we are saying that scale from this to that. You can choose different modes, like try out different. Think that previously, in our previous, like when we built this project for the very first time, I think we used lab, so I'm going to continue using it. But of course, feel free to choose something else if you want. Like try out different modes, see which looks best, and go for that. Or as in, like, I'm going to go for this one. You can raise a pull request saying that, oh, I think we could use this other mode, color mode, because of XYZ reasons. And if it is good, then I'll approve that pull request and we'll get it merged. And then the generated shades, it is an array. So in our card, which is the whole object, take the generated shades and assign the value of scale dot colors. Okay, so dot colors is how many shades you want to generate. So in here, dot colors 6 means 6 shades should be generated. In our case, we are saying we should actually generate the number of shades that the user has said they want to generate. Okay, so if they want 12, generate 12. If they want 4, generate 4. If they want 0, don't generate anything. But we should technically not allow that. Otherwise, why are they even on this website? Okay, any questions, anyone? Okay, I'm going to take the silence as no questions, and let's move on. Uh, I'm going to actually break this into two if statements. So if card and if chroma dot valid hex. So if there is a card and if the hex is valid, then in that case, do all of this that you we have been doing, and after this else, I want to close the if. Okay, perfect. So I'm going to break this into, like, if there is a card, that's the first part. Then after that, if there is chroma dot valid color, then do something else. uh, Set the hex of the card, which is nothing but this one. Color cards, which is color data state. Yes. So for this whole of card, like this is what a structure of one card would look like. Set the hex value, which is defined here. Yep, which will be in the card to whatever is the hex value that has been received. Okay. Now update color card shades is fine. Update color card RGBA. Now this one, as I said, there is one problem which I realized after looking at the code, which is if there is a card, then we set the RGBA values, which is nice. But if your user tries to change any of the values, we need to recalculate the HSL value, the CMYK value, the LCH value, and the hex value, right? So let's do that. That piece of code is missing. So let me do const color equals chroma dot RGB. So there is no RGBA, there is RGB only. So I am going to, so like in chroma, I mean, okay, RGBA dot R, then RGBA dot G, RGBA dot B, and then we can do dot alpha, and that is the A part. So that is a color. And now we can do smart. And car dot hex would be equal to the color dot hex. So color is nothing but this chroma variation of the RGB value that was updated by the user. So if a user, what I'm trying to do here, what we are trying to do. So these are the values, let's say, that are set. You make this 252 as 180. So then whatever is the equivalent of this color in HSL needs to change, CMYK needs to change, hex needs to change, LCH needs to change. So that's what the code that we are writing. So we first calculate what is the color, okay, by properly running it via chroma and seeing that if it is a valid chroma RGB color or not. If it is, then that is nice. And then we first generate the hex of it. Then we will do the HSL, which is hue, saturation, and lightness. And that has three parameters. It has the H part, the S part, the L part. Okay. So H is what we are going to get from color dot get the HSL dot H value, then S value, the L value. Similarly, we'll have to do for CMYK smart again, and LCH, which is LCH. If you notice, I don't say H, I say H. I don't know, from some habit. uh, so that's our HSL, CMYK, and LCH. I guess, yep, this is fine. Then similarly, we have to do for others as well. So this is good. So assuming that the HSL value was set by the user, step one, we need to first check if it is a valid one, let's say. Then we'll do card.hex is color.hex. Then RGBA will be RGB and A is alpha, of course. Then similarly, CMYK is CMYK. I'm only doing tab because well we are using like I have Copilot enabled. Normally I don't, but in this one we have actually gone over every part of the code already once. Uh, so in this case, what is happening is we have like you'll have to take the variable and get a single value, which we are doing, which is fine. The only problem is that alpha itself is not really part of RGB because well it is RGB, not RGB alpha in chroma. Okay, so what I'm trying to say here is RGB. Oh, apparently it is. For some reason I thought it is not. So I can do this. All right. Yeah. See, this is the problem. Oh, that's why I was like, it is not. So if I do RGB, our types somehow do not match. That's why I had gone with RGB. Even though the documentation says it exists. Yeah, the color formats that are exported from our code base are only CMYK, GL, HCG, at least as per TypeScript. These are the ones. So you could, at this point, I would request you all, if someone wants to make a open source contribution to a project other than what I am doing, you could raise a pull request in the types chroma JS library. So you can find the code base here and you can raise a pull request about why the documentation has RGBA defined, but the types do not. Okay. How did I get that? I went into the types and I see that there is RGB defined, but there is no RGBA. Alpha is exported separately. But the color has the property. So I'm not sure what's going on here. I guess this is more of a question of can you ask someone? Color.rgb exists. So I've no idea how did they decide. Okay, anyways. Uh yeah, you can raise a pull request with them like on this code base to confirm if chroma static, where was it? Yeah, if this color formats should also contain RGBA, where it should take in not 3 but 4 values. It should take in R value, G value, B value, which would be numbers, and A, which would be a number again. Yeah. Okay, cool. Uh, but for the time being, just to make our types happy, I'm going to use RGB, and alpha would be generated like this. CMYK is done, LCH is done. Now in CMYK, if someone makes a change in the CMYK value, then perfect. Now it is going to understand a bit more. Hex would be, of course, generated. So if CMYK value changes, then hex should change, RGBA should change, HSL and LCH. All these values should change. RGBA, perfect. HSL, HSL, LCH. Yep, I guess this is perfect. So that's our when CMYK changes, then all these value change. When LCH changes, then hex should change, RGBA should change, HSL should change, CMYK should change, and does LCH change? Nope. Yeah. When LCH updates, hex should update, RGBA should update, HSL should update, CMYK should update. That's the only ones that need updating. CMYK has everything else updating. Uh, HSL has the other four: hex, RGBA, CMYK, and LCH updating. And updating RGBA has hex, HSL, CMYK, and LCH updating. I guess this is fine. Yep, perfect. CMYK has one, two, three, four. Yep, cool. And LCH has one, two, three, four. Yep, perfect. And now our RGBA ID is string, channel is key of RGBA, and value is number. And okay, this one will need some changing. So set state is fine, const card is state dot color cards dot find the card. Once we have found the card, then in that case, what do we need to do? If we have a card, I think we can rewrite this part in a better way. Let me also take this away. We can say const. Yeah, I guess new RGBA is a good name. RGBA is, yep, this. So take the previous RGBA values and now update whatever channel. So if someone has updated only the green color, so take the green color and update it to the latest value. That's what this line means. So first spread over the existing value. So dot 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 means spread over the existing values. So spread over basically in this case would be assign the value of R to its respective, G to its respective, B to its respective, A to its respective. Once you have all done that, once you have assigned those values, then see what has the user changed. If they have changed one of the values, let's say they update the G value, then of course update it to the newer value. And now the RGBA variable in our card needs to be updated to the new RGBA. Then we can do const. Yep, this is good. Color is going to be chroma.rgb, and it will take in new rgba.rgb and alpha. Perfect. And then card.hex is color.hex color. Because RGB has changed, then everything else needs to change, right? We have talked about it already. uh, yes, it looks a bit of repetition, but we'll have to do that for the purpose of our code. Mm, mhm. Okay, perfect. So color dot hex is will give us the hex color, then the HSL, which would give us all the values that are needed. The CMYK will be updated respectively, and LCH would be updated respectively. Okay, perfect. Now in this case, similarly, we can do const new HSL. HSL should be assigned to that one, and color would be the HSL color of what the user has added, hex color, then RGB alpha CMYK LCH. I guess, yep, four things that are updated. Similarly, when we have to update the CMYK channel, so if you see, that's like more of a pattern that we are following. Hope the idea is understandable, and thanks to Copilot, uh, we are getting suggestions because it understood the pattern of what we are doing. So in CMYK, it only gave me suggestions for RGB, HSL, LCH, and hex. Four things need to be added slash updated. So update CMYK channel, and then we also have LCH. Yes, of course. How could I forget? Now it gave me everything at the same time. So new LCH goes to .lch and then channel value. Uh, then next we set the LCH value to the new LCH. Color is chroma.lch with LC and H values. Hex RGBA HSL CMYK. Perfect. Uh, we could technically create a separate function to make our code more reusable. So like assign RGBA, let's say, assign HSL, assign LCH. So then we could just call those functions and that should do the trick. Because if you see this piece of code, okay, if I do a control F with that piece of code, it is repeated 6 times in this file. It works, it will definitely work, but is this a good idea? Not really. So we could make our code more efficient. uh, there is a principle called as the try principle, which is do not repeat yourself, or try, or I would say try to repeat as less as possible, but don't make every code that you write as one line code. That is what I would suggest. Why? Because then it's very difficult to read, it's very difficult to understand what's happening. Don't make everything one liner, but also do not repeat every single line of code. So this is a color store. I guess I would like to say done, but we should also add it to our color card, right? So let's do that. So if I go over to our, actually let me push this. So git status modified one file, git add, git commit dash m. This is a feature, and what did we do? Added, no, updated, actually more like updated Zustand store. I'm not going to do git push because, well, I'm not pushing to the main. I have to push to this branch, right? So if I try to do git push example, it says, well, which branch do you want to push to? I want to push to this branch, so I'm going to do git push origin and that branch name. Now it's asking me for username and password. So let me take it away from the screen, fix that. Seriously, password? Why does it think I remember my password? Let me come back on screen. so that you don't see an empty blank screen and you know that I'm there. Oh, that is too big. Okay. I think in one of my previous sessions, I had said that I have two GitHub accounts. So it just needs to know which account am I pushing from and pushing to. Chose the worst time possible for this. Can I do it from here? Oh, something is wrong with my terminal. Maybe that's why. Can I close this? Hmm, okay. I think there is something wrong with my terminal. I am not sure what, but it is not starting. That's why there are so many issues. Okay, anyways, I think I won't be able to push the change until I restart my machine. If I restart my machine, I will lose this stream. So I'm not going to push it, but it is committed, by the way. Okay, so it is not pushed, but has been committed. If I want to push, can I publish the branch from here? Do you think it worked? Let's see if I go over to this one. Yep, it did. Perfect. Thank God. So, yeah, if I will create a pull request. Uh, Feature number 28. This was uh, now there is a pattern for pull request as well, or there is a template for pull request as well. So first it needs a description. Please include a summary of the changes and the related issue. Please also include relevant motivation and context. So in our case, the summary of the changes is updated Zustand store for color card. Which issue does this fix? So, well, it is fixing this particular issue number 98. So I normally just copy paste that link and replace this with some good title like 98, let's say. Not really a good title, but let's just say that it works. uh, if you want, you could also add the name. So in the square bracket, whatever you add will be shown and it would be linked to, and whatever you have in the round brackets is the link. You could remove this additional brackets if you want. So fixes 98, or more like, so 98 is the link, but this is actually the issue number 28. So fixes 28 dash, there we go, perfect. So fixes number this one. If you see, if I do hash, it actually lets me select something. So this, in this case, it is this one. So I could do that technically. Type of change, it is not a bug fix, it is a feature. So I'm going to put a X mark there, and if you see, it makes it a tick mark. Uh, Checklist. It follows the style guidelines. Yes. I have performed a self review of the code. Yes. Well, I wrote it. I have commented my code where necessary. Did I make any comments? I don't think so. But where necessary is the key. I think it is necessarily commented out already. I made a corresponding change in the documentation. Well, it was not mandatory. Like this change did not require any uh, changes in documentation or readme, so I'm going to leave that. No new library or dependency have been added. Test coverage, actually I've removed all of it, so nope. And my changes generate no new warnings or errors. So if I run my project, where was it? Yep, there we go. Npm run dev. And if I check the console, so no new warnings or errors. Not in here, not in here. So, yep, definitely no new warnings or errors. New and existing unit tests pass locally with my changes. Well, there are none of them anymore, so I'm going to leave that as is. And create pull request. So now that this pull request is created, uh, it actually would, if I go in here, it says that there is a pull request that has been created which potentially might fix this particular issue. So that is nice. Okay, and it also shows up here. So now if I also, let me close all of these other ones, they are not needed. Mark as closed. Okay, so we have one PR here and it is currently building. There are some checks that have failed, but there is no conflict with the base branch. What is my base branch? It is the main branch. And Netlify also does a deployment for us. But we have stopped the deployment, actually. We have locked it, so we do not see a preview. But mostly you would see a link here which shows a preview of what it looks like. Okay. So you could see that and see, okay, this looks good or bad. You can decide based on the preview. And yep, that's it, I guess. Now I am not merging it because it still has work to be done, but I've raised the pull request. It had one commit till now. 4 checks have been done. Like these are the ones that I have added, that whatever are the header rules, page changed rules, redirect rules from Netlify. PR has run PR checks. In this one, there is a failure. The npm run build failed. So our project is actually not building. Okay, there is a failure in npm run build. That's why everything else also failed. But this PR checks is set up in GitHub workflows PR checks. Yes. So in here, I have some stuff about. First of all, it runs like it sets up Node.js version 20, installs npm, then installs all the dependencies from package.json. Then it runs the TypeScript checking. Then it tries to build the project. If the building is successful, then it means there are no failures. In our case, the build is not successful. Actually, we still have to fix this. So that's why all the other things are not working. But once the build is successful, then it will run linting. Check if the linting is proper. Okay. I'm not running a lint fix, I'm running a lint. Okay. So it checks if there are no linting issues. If that passes, then it goes over to npm run test, where it checks if all the tests have passed. There is a coverage threshold that 100% of statements should be covered in the test, 100% of the lines should be covered in test, 50% of branches, and 50% of functions. Right now, we do not actually have any test coverage, frankly. So these I will need to turn it down to zero. Continue on error is false. So if the coverage fails, then the build fails, the pipeline fails. Okay, as the term is, it says the pipeline has failed. But sometimes I still merge it because, well, I'm a good guy. I'm a nice person. But yes, these are the checks that are done. 1, 2, 3, and 4. These four are coming from Netlify. This PR checks is in this repository. And if there are no merge conflicts, then of course this can get merged into the main branch. For now, we have build failure, so I'm not going to merge it, of course, and I am going to continue building it. So we have made changes in color store. Let's go to color card. So in our color card, which was in components, color card. In here, we had started doing stuff, but we stopped midway uh, because we had run out of time. So now let's go back and do it. You can focus solely on screen. Let me increase the size. Perfect. Should be visible. Also, I know I don't ask this multiple times, but if you have any questions, please do ask. Uh, you know what? If I make this an optional, so if I put a question mark here saying that card ID is optional, then our build should technically pass. Yes. Okay. So a build does pass if that particular thing is optional. Now, is it a good idea to make it optional? Not really, but I am thinking that I want to show you the whole process. I basically am confused if I should show one PR uh, process and then we can create another issue of adding the functionality. Yes, let's do that. Since we only did a one line change, I'm going to amend my previous commit. Okay. So if you don't remember what is amend, in one of our previous sessions, we talked about it. Uh, So an amend allows you to basically, can I force push from here? Let's see. Hmm, apparently this does not allow force push. Okay, let me see if we can force push from Git VS Code. Uh, force. Nope. Force push VS Code. Okay, I've apparently seen this before. Settings, extensions, Git allow force push. Okay, let's do Command Shift P. Settings, UI, force push. Git allow force push. Yes. Yep. Perfect. And I can just do a reload after this. The reason why I'm doing it is because, well, my terminal is not starting up for some reason, and I need to restart my whole laptop, which I'm not doing right now. Now I click on this three dots and push force. Yep, there we go. Yes, okay. Don't ask me. Yes, perfect. I have pushed the changes, force pushed the changes more like. You should only use force push when you are sure you know what you're doing. Okay. Now in my commits, there must be two file changes. One in colorcard.tsx where we made this optional, and one in color store where we added so much code. Let our project build. PR checks have still failed, of course, but this time it failed on coverage. Okay. Uh, I know our coverage is zero across the whole project. So ideally, I should update our settings. But for the time being, I think this is good. I can create a merge commit, squash and merge, or rebase and merge. I prefer to go with rebase and merge. So I'm going to do that. Rebase and merge. So this would be done by the project owner, which in this case is myself. So it's me telling myself that, oh, what a good job. uh, Confirm rebase and merge, and that's done. Now I normally delete the branch when it is merged. So we have no more pull request. The issue which was raised has been fixed. Now if I go over here, there we go. There has been a merge and 99 commits. Perfect. Now, well, this branch is no longer a valid branch. I am going to git checkout over to the main branch, and I am going to do git pull dash dash all. And it tells me that there were changes in two files. Okay. So there was this file which had two line changes, one add, one minus. So there were two changes, plus and minus. I don't know what that means. And then the other one is color store, which had 248 changes, some pluses, some minuses, 204 insertions, in terms of, I guess, lines or words or letters. 46 deletions. Okay, so that is the status of our project. We need to create a new issue to make color card show more. No, to make the color card show the card. Yes. So I'm going to click on new issue, feature request, feature. I know. So previous one was what, 28. So anyone who raises, like from you all, if you raise a feature request, you don't have to give it a number. I will give it if it is approved. Normally, I also put a label saying this is under discussion. If it is under discussion, let's say feature 29, column colum in column 1 of homepage should show color cards. Hmm. Two. What I want here right now is integrate the updated existing store with color card component, plus add new card button to be created to create actually new card. These are two things, and that's it. I will do a create. There's a pull request. This needs verification, but I'm going to say no, not anymore. It is a good first issue for sure. And I will assign this to myself. So I'm going to work on it. And also, I should update my template. Okay, so I'm going to do it on GitHub itself. Nope, not this template. In the workflows, the PR checks. Okay, so this is what I want to update. So I'm going to do it right here. I am going to say that all the coverages go down to 0. Going to commit the changes, update, and committing directly on main branch. As I said, always a good idea to do a git pull before you make a new branch. So git pull all. Yep, there's the latest change which is done. Oh, 100 commits. We reached 100 commits. Congratulations, everyone. And now do a git checkout dash b, which is to create a new branch. What should I call my branch? Feet 29. Feet 29, column 1, color card changes, like something. Git checkout dash b. Yep. And always a good idea to do npm run bootstrap dev as soon as you have pulled something, and you have created a branch. Okay, so whenever you have pulled from main, always a good idea to when you have created a pulled from main, created a branch, always a good idea to run npm run bootstrap dev Bootstrap dev is a custom command, by the way, everyone. Okay, if it is not clear, bootstrap dev is a custom command that we have written, okay, which runs internally clean install, which is again that we have written, and it clean install also runs npm install. Then I always also have this npm install dash d, which is to install dev dependencies, which is technically not needed. I should remove this at some point. Okay, so this is a mistake. And an npm run build, so that is the build passing or not after pulling all this data, after running bootstrap dev. Yes, after making changes after running bootstrap dev, is the build passing or not? Okay, cool. So this is good. Now let's go back to our code base. Let me arrange everything again. Yep, there we go. Color card. So this is, let me see. Yep, this is correct. Color card needs changing. Let's do that. Okay, I am getting a lot of calls. I have no idea why. Okay, so card is a optional parameter right now. Then card data is nothing but use color store, where we basically change, not change, we check if the state dot color cards dot find the card where card id matches. But now that card id can be an optional parameter, so we should actually add a check saying if card id is provided, is passed, then in that case run all of these checks, else set it to undefined. Okay, so what are we doing here? So card data was nothing but we went to our store, which is the Zooston store that we have created. It exports use color store. Okay, the file name is called color store, but it is exporting use color store. So the use color store, which is coming from store slash color store, uh, in that we are trying to find a card where the id matches. If it does not match, then in that case we set it undefined. So we see if there is an id passed from the parent component. Currently there is not, uh, because, well, it could be an optional parameter, right? It is an, sorry, not, it's an optional parameter, which means it could either be a string or it could be undefined. If it is undefined, then in that case, set this card data to undefined. Or if the card id has been passed from the parent component, if there is a value like abcd123 passed from parent component, then try to find that card in our color cards, okay, which is in, again, defined in the store. So once we have that, I guess I am, instead of going through everything, I'm going to do one at a time. So const update color card name is nothing but use color store, and this, yep, perfect. So what am I doing here? I am going to, instead of doing what we had done before, where we were destructuring out everything from use color store, the problem with that approach is that if, let's say, any of those variables change, then the whole thing re-renders. Okay, Zooston will make everything re-render even if one of those variables change. I don't want that. I only want to re-render. What is re-render? It is nothing but reload. You can like think of it as a reload. Okay, so think of it as a React reload internally. So if anything changes, then React reloads internally. And if let's say I change value of a color card name, then color card hex, shades, RGB, HSL, CMYK, LCH, they don't need to change, right? Only I have only updated the name of the card. That should not trigger a change for hex, like all those things that I said. So that is why a good practice would be to segregate it out into separate ones. Color card hex is good. Color card shades, yes. Update color card RGB, we don't need actually. So now this is where it goes wrong. And also this does not exist. So const, let's say remove color card, that exists. Yep, we'll update that. What else? Const update color card RGBA channel. So this exists. Then HSL channel exists. Then CMYK channel exists. Then LCH channel exists. Then it's giving nonsense because it thinks that, oh, I will also have a lab channel, but I don't. Const generate shades, we do have this to generate shades. Is it not called generate shades? What is it called? Generate color card shades. So generate color card shades. Okay, and in here, if there is no card data, or we can technically say that if no card ID or no card data. So if you don't have ID, then it will show this error. Well, actually, that's not really needed, right? If you don't have ID, then card data already will become undefined. If there is no card data, then yep, this is what we will show. Perfect. So now let's go over to color conjure. Oh, I have no idea which node version is this on. So I'll run this again. Anyways, any questions, anyone? We will take a quick break in like next 15, 20 minutes, 15 minutes, I guess. Build failure because, well, we have declared a lot of values, but we are not using them. So linting fails. Okay, that's why we get these red squiggly lines. So card data, we can say if card ID exists, then we'll have card data mostly. Else it will be set to undefined. If yep, I guess this is fine. By the way, as I was saying, any questions, anyone? Input. This should have yep card data dot name and on change. Perfect. Card ID. Oh, because card ID could technically. Then I should do this. If not card ID or. Yeah, perfect. So we are doing an early return here. Else we are going for value and on change. Let me reload this. Oh, npm run dev. I forgot that. I'm confused. If should I make changes here first, or actually let's make a change in the parent first. That should technically make it easier. So this is fine, and now in three columns. Okay, so what I'm doing is whoever is the parent, we will make a change there first, so at least we see something instead of this error right now. And yeah, once we see something, then it would make it way easier to actually make other changes that we are doing right now. Sorry, something in my eyes. I am the changes that I'm going to make here. I'm going to say const color cards. Okay, color cards is we are going to call the use color store, import that, and yep, this goes into color this one, and const it's smart, add color card. Yep, it understood the requirement, add color card. Then in our a side this is fine, and you can technically in here after the h1, yes. So after the h1 we need a button on click of which it should add a new card, right? So I'm going to do a button, and we'll give it a class name, uh something, let's say add color card. Okay, so we have given it a class name, so we should now see a button here. Yes, that is nice, but just doing this does not make it clickable. So we need to add a on click handler saying that if someone clicks on this, okay, so on click is a event that a button has. On click it should call the add color card function, which we are getting from the store. So I click on add color card, and there is a failure. So currently it is getting clicked, but it's not doing anything, because when it is getting clicked, I think it should show a color card, right? That is not happening. You can also give it a title of add color card. Okay, we can also have an icon here, but let's say we'll do that later. Div grid, grid calls 1 gap 4. On the y-axis we'll say overflow dash y dash auto, and padding x of 2. On x-axis we want 2 padding, and right here, yes, so all the color cards that we have, map over them. And I don't know what it did here, but I don't need all of these. What I need is a color card. It takes in a key. Key is a default property that exists on every component that you create, and a card ID. That's all I think that would be needed for the time being. There we go. Perfect. I clicked on it multiple times, and that's what happened. Can I delete anything? Nope. But there we go. So overflow auto does the trick. Uh, does not look good. Can I do a width dash full? Okay, much better. Width full. So if I click on add color card, remember the last color name, okay? It is 478952220. I click on it, 480131115. Okay, so that is our adding color card functionality. Adding a color card works, but oh, and also this also works. But all the other functionalities like mapping these inputs to something is still not done. Okay, so also another thing that I want to focus on is when you click on add color card, it creates a new card with the same color value, like same value that needs to be there. The hex value is not shown because we have not mapped it from our store over to this one. That's why we don't see it. uh yeah, okay, cool. Let's go to our 3 column layout. So we have added the input should be for our color card. Okay, so now we go back to our color card, and we are saying that if, also it does not show the error, of course, because well, there is a color card. Value is card dot name, and on change is fine, and then color preview it takes in. Okay, so this is also a problem. Currently everything is fixed to whatever is the what this color. Okay, everything is fixed to this color, but it should ideally be card data dot the hex color. So whatever is the hex color should be the background color. Yeah, okay. Yep, I think so. This should work out fine. So that should be the hex color. And then if I scroll down, so this is just a placeholder, so I'm not going to change this. The input, yep, that should be card data dot hex. And on change, so input has a on change event. Okay, so if the input, like something changes inside the input box, we trigger an on change. A button can be clicked, so that is why it has a on click event handler. Okay, now there is a button where clicking on this should add color, but actually we will change this to generate shades. Generate shades. And clicking on that should generate the shades, which we already have written code for. So that is fine. So generate shades and with the card ID that was provided. Where is the card ID coming from? If you notice that the card ID is for color cards for every ID that was created inside the store. And how did we create that? So inside our store, if you remember, we did some magic. I say magic, but we did some very lame, I would say, ID generation. Where was it? Yeah, this one, I think. Nope, apparently not this one. ID was a string. Oh yeah, here it is. Date dot now dot to string. Yes. So that's how we were generating the IDs. So that gets passed, and this is fine. And generate shades is done. The next one is deleting a color, right? So deleting a color, again, an on click handler. Perfect. Oh, we have an icon button. Can I provide that icon button to our, oh, but it's defined here. Anyways, okay, I'll fix that probably in a bit. So if I take this, go to our 3 column layout, and this button, I make it this one, but remove the H10 and W10. This is what the button looks like. Really bad looking. Does it have to be grid? Nope. I can also give my H1 a margin bottom of 4, so that everything is pushed 4 pixels down. My button needs some more padding, so I can do p-2. Oops, that is too big. P-1, and I can also make the text small inside. Okay, perfect. So that's my button. And this one has a border. Of course, there is a hover of BG slate, but I don't want that color on hover. I want it to always have that color. Where did it go? Yep, there we go. And the text should always be white. And on hover, we can go for bg dash blue dash 700, and hover text would be text dash blue dash 50, and cursor pointer because it's a button. So cursor dash pointer. So now it gives a feeling that okay, I'm hovering over something, its color is changing, and I can click on it. Perfect. I can actually do it px dash 2 py dash 1. So on y-axis, I want whatever is the py dash 1 padding. But on x-axis, it should be basically wider. Yep, much better, I guess. Uh, Sorry, one last thing. I think by default, the button should be slate. Sorry, on hover, it should be slate. By default, it should be blue. So I don't want this. And by default the text color should be blue 50, but on hover it should change to text dash slate dash 50. Yeah, I think I like this one much better. Yeah, sorry, I know minor changes, but well, not like you want a bad UI, right? Okay, going back to our color card, I do get distracted a bit very quickly. Hex is fine, and on change it is going to call the update color card hex, which takes in the color card ID, and the value, the e.target value represents what the user has typed. Okay, so that's done. Button to generate the color card shades is done, which takes in the card ID, and then it should generate the shades. We have not written code to show the shades yet, so that is fine. Removing the color card is also done. Oh, if that is done, then I guess we could start removing. Yep, able to delete stuff. So if I delete everything, I reload, does not show the error. If I click on it, okay. Hmm, interesting. Would anyone want to debug? Uh, since there are no cards, I'm expecting. Or actually, am I? In my application local storage, there is a color conjure storage that we had added to store the data. Color cards is coming from here. So I can basically say color cards store length greater than 0. Then in that case, do this map, else, yep, show this. And there we go. Perfect. So now I can actually return this from here over to this particular div. Also ensure that it is text dash center. And in here I can just say if no card ID or no card data, then in that case return null. Perfect. Do I need this one? Not sure. Yep. Okay. So we have successfully done some changes, which is adding a new card, adds a new card, deleting works. And if there is no card, then loading color card or color card not found. I can just say color card not found, click on add color card button to add a new one. Instead of red, I can go with something more subtle, like let's say blue 700. Too big of a message. Click on add color card to add a new one. Perfect. Ah, hmm, okay. Uh, Anything else that comes to mind? We were still completing color cards. So this is done. This is done. Generate is done. Remove is done. Now let's go to the next bit. Number of shades. Yes. So the number of shades should be value should be color dot shades, and on change it should update this one. Update color card shades should be color card ID and the e dot target dot value. So normally e dot target dot value is always a string, but in our case we want it to be a number. Okay, why? Because our update color card shades expects ID which is a string but shades as a number. So we need to convert this e dot target dot value, which is a string, which returns a string as you can see, to a number. So that's why we are doing this number and this thing. And I guess this is the perfect time to stop for the time being. I'm going to keep these three commented so that our build does not fail. And I am going to, can I try everything from here? Let's try. So I click on plus to stage the change. So that is same as git add. Now to commit, I am going to add a message saying feat updated column 1 to add new color card. I'm going to do a commit. Let's see if this works out. Okay, it did work out. And now I can do a publish branch. So that should have published a new branch. Yep, there we go. Compare and pull request. I'll do all of these in a bit. For the timing, just creating a pull request. And you all can see all the changes that I have done if you visit this pull request. So there's the pull request. You can go into the commits, or you can go directly into the files changed and see all the files that have been changed. So there are two files that have changed. Okay, all these commented out code has been removed and you now have this. and three column layout has a few new things. Okay, perfect. Now, any questions, anyone? If not, we are going to end the stream right now. Like at this point, we are still going to work on this pull request that we have created, this PR that we have created. But we'll take a 10-minute break. So after 10 minutes, come back online and join me for part 6, which is the final part of this series that we have been doing, where we have reached there. Okay, we can create a new card. All we need to do is just generate some shades here, and maybe depending on the time, actually I'll create an about page. uh, Components, let's see if we have time. So yeah, we are nearly there. We will soon complete everything that we have. Any questions, anyone? If not, then I have a request. Feedback. Okay, please fill the feedback form. Let me share the link with you all. So the feedback form is for you all to tell me what did I do good, what did I do bad, anything that I can improve on. So there's the feedback form. This was session 5 of building your own like open source color palette generator. So if you search for part 5, I don't think a lot of people have that. Yeah, part 5 is this one, open source color palette generator. uh, you can give me a review, a rating, any feedback. I'm not giving myself a rating, don't worry, but any constructive criticism that I get from you all, I'll try to work on it for my next session. Please don't say that, oh, I did not complete this project, because this project did not have a completion. Okay, it is going to be an ongoing project. I'll request you all to raise pull requests, raise feature requests after the end of today's session. I will create some live, and then I'll request you all to create some feature request, then create pull request to resolve those feature requests, add new features, resolve bugs, stuff like that. Make it look good. So after end of today's part 6, you can do all of that. And yep, that's it. Also, one last announcement. Once this stream ends, close Twitch. I will send a message on Discord about the new stream. You can come and join that new stream, because Twitch does not auto refresh. So you have to close the stream and restart. Okay, so please do that. Any questions, anyone? Anything? And I'll change the music in the next one. Don't worry. Okay, I'm going to take the silence as golden. Thank you so much. And I will see you all in 15 minutes. I'll still start the stream, but don't join until like next 15 minutes, because there won't be nothing, just music and a banner. Okay. Cheers. Bye bye.